stop me now. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me now. They won't stop me, no.
Welcome back to We Are Mighty. How you doing today? How's the last couple of weeks been since we last spoke? Starting to get warmer outside. The weather's breaking in the Midwest. That can only last for a few days and then it'll be like winter again. But I'm enjoying this 70, 80, 90 degree weather right now. I hope you are too. We Are Mighty, of course, is a podcast that I started. My name is LaTanya, aka Mighty's Mama. And it's just a way to help people who may be going through grief as I am. Mighty was my son Miles's nickname. And we tragically lost him July of 2023. And here we are almost 2 years later, still talking about grief, because once it's a part of your life, it's a part of your life. And the journey is not the same for any two people. The loss is not the same for any two people, even if it's the same way or the same type. So I'm just here to encourage you on this journey, that you can make it no matter how you deal with it. No matter what your vice is, no matter what your therapy is, you'll be able to make it. I don't say get better, because as I mentioned in my last episode, it's more of learning to deal with the pain. So I was thinking, what would you say is like your therapy? Now, not just regular therapy. Like, I do go to a therapist and, speak and get advice from him, but what is your, we'll say, like, guilty pleasure? I know some people like retail therapy. They go shopping. It makes them feel better. Some people binge watch shows on Netflix or, those streaming services. Some people work out. Some people get busy in work. My husband works on cars. I think sometimes when he wants to clear his head, he may just go and tinker with a car or something mechanical. But what is your therapy? I just learned about myself that I have kind of switched gears with my guilty pleasure type therapy. I used to shop. That, of course, is expensive, especially right now. But I think part of my guilty pleasure type of therapy in dealing with the grief, I think I have turned to, and it's not going to sound good when I say it, but I think I've turned to pain therapy. I say that because my son Miles had both his arms were pretty much sleeves. He had really nice tattoos and had my name, my mom's name. He had his grandmother's name, roses, doves. I mean, you name it. He probably had it. And it wasn't just his arms. He had across his chest. He had a lot of tattoos. He didn't have them on his neck or his face. He kind of kept that clear, but he had a lot. And I just realized from the time that I turned, I believe my first tattoo was at 28 up until 2023. So until 46 or so. In that time, over those years, I ended up with a total of 9 or 10 tattoos. Since I've lost my son, I'm already up to 17. So I think that has become my new therapy or guilty pleasure, or maybe I'm channeling Miles. I don't know, because I have at least 5 more that I want to get, and quickly. That's the difference. A span of 10 over 10 years is one thing, but I've gotten at least 7, 8 more since 2023. So I'm definitely more into tattoos all of a sudden. And I just wonder, is it the pain? Is it the way that I can channel that pain? I can sit. I have one tattoo that took 3 hours straight. I didn't get up. I didn't stop her. I just let her plow through it. And I was calm. I don't wince very much at the pain. So I'm just trying to figure out now, is it just that pain is pulling away from other pains, or do I know my son had a very high pain threshold. I mean, even from a child. Miles had stitches before he was a year old, and he was fighting the doctors. They papoosed him and had just the arm out. It was just his thumb that had to have the stitches, and he was so strong. It took me and a nurse to hold him still for them to get a boy 2 stitches. So I just wonder if it's that, channeling it because I knew pain didn't really bother him, or is it, kind of a displacement? Not dysplasia. I think that has something to do with pregnancy. But displacement of the pain, to pull, so I'm not thinking of other pain. Maybe I'll figure it out. Maybe I won't. Who knows how many tattoos I'll have by the time I stop. Oh, well. Another thing I was thinking about, and it's actually something that kind of concerns me, is my identity right now. By that, I mean, how do people know me right now? Prior to losing my son, people knew me for being active in church, singing. I've sang in local bands, happy-go-lucky, always joking, funny. I feel like right now, grief is becoming my identity. And I don't think I want that. Now, if it was, I'm known because I have a podcast dealing with grief or helping others deal with grief, that's one thing. Now that I would like to be known for. But I feel more like it's the fact that I'm going through grief is all that people are seeing. And that's on me, because I know people may want to do things, and because of my grief, I just can't. I cannot go bowling because that's the last thing we did with my son just a few hours before he died. And there's always somebody, hey, Tanya, we want to go bowling this weekend. I'm sorry, I can't do bowling. And then it's like that, oh, yeah. And then I feel bad because I feel like I put a damper on, their plans or what they wanted to do. And I don't want anyone to change their plans because of me or for me, because, what I'm dealing with is for me to deal with. I'm just not at that place yet. But I also don't want people to feel like, oh, we got to tiptoe because, we can't say bowling and we can't go to certain areas of town because it's a trigger for her. So I worry that in the last couple of years, that has developed into my identity. Oh, Tanya, the one who lost her son. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Miles' mom, the one who died. And I'm trying to think I'm so concerned about the memory of my son, keeping it alive. Yes, I want to keep it alive, but I don't want to keep it alive in that way. I've said before, I don't want people, feeling sorry for me. Yes, on one hand, I want people to understand that I am dealing with something, but I never want your sympathy, if that makes sense. I don't want you feeling sorry. You know, there's people who have honestly gone through worse things than I have, and I know that. But it makes me think, do I need to go about this a different way? Do I need to go about my daily life a different way so that I'm not only known as a grieving mother? And this literally just hit me today. It's like we were making plans for a group at my job and they wanted to go bowling. And I just said, oh, I can't do bowling. You guys go right ahead. I can't do bowling. And there was somebody who knew why. And she's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to do anything that triggers anybody. And I was like, she didn't even have to say that. Just, I can't go bowling for whatever reason. I can't go bowling, but you guys go ahead. And so then it became, oh, no, we understand. And then it's the sympathy faces and the sympathy tone. And, oh, LaTanya, no. And I'm trying to figure out what is it that I want. Because, yes, I want people to care. Yes, I want people to understand and, be sensitive to the fact that I'm dealing with things. But I do not want all that, as my mother would say, carrying on. I don't need all that carrying on. You don't have to, oh, I'm so, yeah. Because to me, that makes me feel worse because I feel like I have brought your spirit or your enthusiasm for something you wanted to do. I've brought that down because of my situation. And if you haven't dealt with the same situation, why would I want you to feel low like I am? So I know we've started with, let's get past the grief and let's live with it and let's learn to deal with the pain. So now it's, how do you create your post-traumatic identity? Because you can't say post-grief because the grief is there. So how do you create a post-traumatic identity? I had just read something about hyper or highly active depression. You're dealing with depression, but you're still busy. You're still working every day. You're still accomplishing things, but you have no joy. And I can say that was me for a while. Probably still me a little bit right now. I'm trying to be more joyful. I want to feel more joy. So how do I change that? I don't want to be a highly active depressed person. I don't want to deal with that. But on the other hand, I won't, and I don't want to forget that my son existed, that my son lived, that he meant something to a lot of people. And I think that's the fear. I fear if I don't continue to focus on the grief, focus on the fact that he was taken from me, focus on that negative stuff, that it may slip through my fingers, that he may slip through my fingers. So what do I do? I know I'm supposed to be here helping you, and I'm still trying to. But that's the thoughts that I'm dealing with right now. In 2 months? It will have been 2 years. And that's another one of those. On one hand, it's only been 2 years, and on the other hand, it's been 2 whole years. But I know people who it's been way more than that, and they're still dealing with the grief. I just want to have a balance. You know how when you have a job that's kind of demanding, they talk about your work-life balance. You've got to have your work-life balance. You're going to work, you're going to have your time that goes to work, but you have to have that time for yourself. You have to have that time to live, to be there for your family, to do things to rejuvenate yourself. I feel like that is a part of the cycle of grief. Figuring out, I guess my new term, the grief life balance. How do you grieve and still deal with your life and still enjoy life? Because I still have those moments when I feel guilty for enjoying life because my baby's not here to enjoy it anymore. That's the one thing I wish I could get rid of, is that guilty feeling. And I know he wouldn't want me to feel guilty, but that's probably one of the biggest things that brings me down. When I start to do something fun or exciting or something new, almost always at the peak of the enjoyment, in the back of my mind, I think, I wish Miles were here. I wish I could share this with Miles. I wish I could call him and tell him about this. We have a new granddaughter. Most adorable thing. And I think about, wow, Miles wasn't able to give us a grandchild. Was I wrong in teaching him to wait until he's in a committed, preferably married, but in a committed relationship to do something like having kids, or once he's got his career aspirations and everything in line? There's no rush. Those are the things that I taught him. You can do whatever you want to do. Having kids isn't a bad thing, but it can slow down that process. So he didn't. Now, of course, there was no way for me to know he'd be gone at 24. But it would have been wonderful had he not listened to me. Crazy thing to say. But had he had a little boy or girl, a grandchild that I could raise or be a part of their lives to continue his legacy. So those questions, they linger. What do you do? And I know of course I'm not the first mother to lose a child. I'm not the only mother to lose a child. And many others lost children after me. One day I'll get one or two of those ladies on the podcast with me. I have one who I really want to get, and she's just not there yet. And she lost her son before I lost mine. But as I've said before, the way that you deal with it is the way that you deal with it. For me, talking it out, even if I'm not talking to another person, but just expressing it here on this podcast is therapeutic for me. And I've looked at the numbers and the views. Is it one of the top? No. Do I have hundreds of viewers? No. That really wasn't my goal in starting this. Would I love for it to take off and get hundreds of viewers? Absolutely. But until that time comes, I'm not going to just stop. I'm not going to not try to help whomever I can help, because that's what's most important. And again, if it's not helping anyone else, it's actually helping me. So I wonder where, from day to day, how the day's going to go, how my emotions are going to go. But I want to try to intentionally not put so much focus on the grief. Because I feel like right now, I don't know who I am without it. And that's not a good thing. There's so much more to me. There's so much more to you. There's so many layers to a person that should not be your only identity. Do you want to only be known for the suffering that you're going through? I don't. And maybe acknowledging it will help me get to a point where I'm suffering less, because I don't want it to be how people see me, how people know me. Like I had a young lady say to me one day, I love when I see you posting on Facebook. I love when I see you on social media. She didn't say anything about the subject matter, just to see me putting something out there. And I went back and I looked at my social media, and a lot of it is relating to grief. There's more in my life. I have more accomplishments. I have more setbacks. So I just want to intentionally, we talked about being intentional. So now I'm deciding to intentionally pull away from the grief if I can. I don't want that to be my identity. I've been doing things little by little, getting myself out there. And I think people are starting to see my face again in other places. So I'm gonna push. And I encourage you to as well. If you're someone who focuses on the grief in their life, maybe you have already mastered that. And if you have, please let me know the secret. We are mighty24@gmail.com, or our Facebook page. We Are Mighty, with my face and our logo. Please let me know the secret. Do you have a grief life balance? Have you been doing this long enough that you figured out the way to grieve and live and still have a separate identity from that suffering person who is dealing with a devastating loss? I'd love your feedback. I would love your help. I would love your advice. Because I definitely don't know it all. And I'm just sitting here letting you know what I've seen, what I've learned over the course of just a little over a year, which is really no time when you're dealing with a huge loss. So let me know your thoughts. Am I trying to jump too soon? Trying to change this narrative of my life? Of course, we can't say that because we know that there's no time limit on grief. I just don't want to jump out there like jumping out of a plane with no parachute. I don't want to crash. But I think it's time to begin changing that narrative. But I will still be here for you. I will still be here every other Friday. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can watch me on YouTube or Spotify. Again, the email is wearemighty24 gmail.com. You can hit us up on social media. Reach out however you need. As always, in everything you do, be true to yourself, be strong, and be mighty. See you next time.
They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.